What did people do? People went and bought toilet paper. It's a wrong move. What are you doing spending money on toilet paper? Okay, if you're going to go broke, wiping your ass is not the issue. You guys forgot what being broke's like, because when you're broke, you will not go buy toilet paper first. You'll do a lot of things to figure out how to clean your butt. Buying toilet paper will not be one of them. It just shows you how reactive people are. So first thing I do is take myself to zero. I look at all my inventory, all my assets, all my liabilities, and say, hey, I lose everything. Now what do? I need to start going out and collecting money. So I do a real quick retreat to an imaginary zero or below, and then I go on advance again. And I quit bleeding. It's going to be an unbelievable time if you can get through to the other side of it.
The world is changing. Inspiration is everywhere. It has never been so easy to connect, share, and bring people together. We're learning from others and finding the best in ourselves. Challenging our beliefs, sharing our vulnerability, overcoming our fears, transforming ourselves so we can transform the world. How far can we go?
This is London Real. I am Brian Rose. My guest today is... This is London Real. I am Brian Rose. My guest today is Grant Cardone, the American sales training expert, real estate investor, and New York Times best-selling author. Your real estate empire is valued at over $1.5 billion, and Forbes magazine named you #1 of the 25 marketing influencers to watch. You're the author of 5 books, including Sell or Be Sold, Be Obsessed or Be Average, and the 10X Rule. Today, the global economy is being torn apart by the coronavirus pandemic and total citizen lockdown, and we are here to discuss how to structure your business in the new COVID-19 reality, how to expand when others contract, and how to recognize the opportunities that emerge from the crisis. Uncle G, welcome back to London Real.
Brian Rose, it's always good to be with you, man. This is a perfect time. You've asked me enough questions in the past to know that I've been setting up for this for some time.
I know you have, and I can't wait to get into it. First of all, I just wanted to give you a big shout out for that 10X Growth Con, man. I was just so impressed. I watched it all live. I bought it afterwards, and it was just a great gala spectacle. And I got to say one more thing. You're a great interviewer, Grant Cardone. I know you say you hate it, but you were real natural on the stage, and you were fun, and you engaged people across all different types, man. I was really impressed with you.
I hate being the interviewer. I hate your job, because I watch guys like you and a handful of other guys that are so good at the interview game. And frankly, I mean, to be honest with you, I compare myself to you while I'm doing that interview with John Travolta or Kevin Hart or Floyd Mayweather. And I'm like, how would Brian do it? I'm like, nah, just give up, dude. You're never going to be good at this.
Dude, no, man, I was taking notes from you because you're so in the moment. And like, halfway through, you're like, guys, this is Kevin Hart. And everybody applauds. Like, I don't know, man. I couldn't be that spontaneous, man. I thought you did great, and you pulled stuff out of John Travolta that was gold, man. And so my favorites were Dana White.
That guy's a genius. Like John Travolta.
I mean, the fact that he flies those Boeings, but that he's thinking of those marketing deals, and he's so soft-spoken, but he's so smart, isn't he? And people don't know that about him.
That's such a quiet killer. You know?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, and love Dana White, Brad Parscale. Wow, that was a good one for me. I mean, yeah, and I just love how you were like, look, I just want the best on the stage, and I'm not thinking about what it costs. And I love how you said about Kevin Hart. You're like, you got into an accident, you know what? Keep the check and let me know. I don't know, man. It just shows everything about you, the way you roll, the energy inside of you, and just you should be really proud of that, man. So
yeah, thank you so much. Thanks.
Congrats, man. So look. When this all went down about 3 weeks ago, you're honestly the first guy I thought of, because when I read 10X Rule, and I've had you on the show twice, and I've had Elena on the show, and we talked about that moment when you're in Los Angeles and the '08 crash has happened, or '07, whatever it was, and she's like, what are we going to do? Make something happen. And you go into your office and you write the book, and I just remember it so viscerally, that I was like, this is the guy who's always saying expand when others contract, you know, build the fire, like you say in your book. And luckily I'm older now, and I've been through those crises as well. And so immediately I was like, I'm expanding here, and I got to have that mindset no matter what. But if I was in my 20s, I probably would be tracting and going into fear. And so that's why I wanted to have you on. And to be honest, we've been expanding like madmen here. I mean, our numbers are up like 5x right now in the last 2 weeks because of publishing content, some amazing controversy with YouTube. So I'm not 10x's yet, Grant. I'm working on the 10x, but we're up 5x. And I wanted, what's your read on the virus, the lockdown, what the economy is going to look like, and what people need to be thinking about? And we got time, but how do we start this?
So the virus, I mean, I don't know anything about the virus. Okay. I don't know about, I think I had coronavirus in January, the third week of January. I got hit with something I've never been hit with before. It did not feel like an organic, just for me, it did not feel like an organic flu. It felt like a synthetic. It felt like something had been built, like, because it took me down for 2 days. And I don't want to over dramatize this, but I remember waking up, it was a Tuesday. And I woke up on a Tuesday and I told my wife, I'm like, what day is it? What month is it? I literally feel like I've just lost the last 2 days. I had no connection with my family, my kids. Like, I was down. And I've been sick before. I was sick, I think my 3 growth conferences ago, I got really, really sick, but not like this. That was like an organic flu. That was maybe 3.5 years ago. This one was weird. So that being said, nobody was talking about a coronavirus. Nobody was talking about the Chinese flu or any of that. The economic impact of this is going to hit every person on this planet in a way nobody has ever planned for, including myself. And that is what I'm more concerned about right now, is because everybody's going to get this sickness. And this is not going to last 2 or 3 days or 2 or 3 weeks. It's going to be, and I've said this before on your show, the next recession would be deep. It would be long. It would make 2008 look like like nothing. And I really believe that that's what we're in for right now. And if I'm wrong, I just know that this is what I have to go through in order to get ready to do the next thing. I have to get to acceptance as fast as I possibly can. So what I do, Brian, and you and I have talked about this before, I just get to worst case scenario as fast as I possibly can.
And so you sat down with your team, Jared and Ryan and your COO as well, and just told them this is the worst it's going to be and this is the worst year we're going to have. And you just try to, just assess it as bad as it's going to be, accept it, and then move on? Because most people go through those 5 stages of grief, and it can take them months before they realize what's up.
It can take years. I know people that have been locked in grief for 20 years before they finally accepted mom's gone, or, right, I lost my job. So what I did was, this happened 3 weeks ago. Like, when I saw it happen, it's the same. It's very similar to LA. When I was in LA and I saw Lehman collapse, Elena's like, what's going on? Because my face was white, because I'm going through the whole thing too. Like, I'm like, oh my God, this is going to shut the entire world down, not a country. When Lehman collapsed, it was like, Elena looked at me and said, what's happening? What's happening right now? I said, oh, we're going to die. Now, I wasn't ready in 08. I've been getting ready now for 12 years. I said that because 08, I've said that will never happen to me again. The next time this happens, my response is going to be different, because the last time I contracted longer than I needed to, and I was not in a position to expand into the contraction. This time it was like, found out about it on a Thursday or Friday. I got a phone call actually Thursday night from some very, very important people that are well connected, and said, hey, you need to get ready. This country's going to get shut down. And so I called 8 different people and said, hey, this is what I've been told. I suggest you go do these things to take care of your family first. Some of those people were at my office. I said, leave the office now, go get what you need in case this thing happens this weekend. It didn't happen that weekend, and then the next day, that weekend, we all got whatever supplies that we needed, which was water, food, and a handful of other things that we tend to use here in America that you're not allowed to use. And then on Monday, I had a meeting with my executives and said, guys, this is what's going to happen. We're going to have the worst financial year we've had. no matter what we do, no matter how creative we get, no matter how smart we are, this is going to be the worst financial year we've had in 10 or 12 years. Number two, who are we getting rid of? And they were like, oh my God, you're overreacting. We don't need to do that. I'm like, I understand. But see, I know that they're still in denial.
Right.
People are hopeful. This is an asset. To be optimistic and enthusiastic is an asset. And all assets, this is a calculation I use in my business, all assets at some point become a liability. I'll give you an example. I love my kids, right? They're assets. They make me look good. They make me feel good. They make me stronger. Because of my love for them, they also become a liability. Because if you threaten my kids, I get weak. If you wanted to take them, I'm like, I'll give you everything I have. So they become a liability because I love them so much. Well, my executives have to be positive every day. And so they want to believe we're going to get through this. They want to hold on to everything's going to be fine. You have to have that to be a leader. And in that moment, that becomes a liability in a situation like this. So I had a meeting with them. It didn't go well. They were all like, let's keep everybody, it was an open discussion. That was on a Monday. Tuesday morning, I went into the office. I said, okay, yesterday we had the meeting. Today, we make grants decisions. Make a list. I need 25% of the staff terminated immediately. Give them paid through the end of the month. It's going to be ugly. They're not going to like it. You're not going to like it. This has to happen. Okay. Now I've gotten so much heat for this. Publicly saying I'm going to let people go. And sorry. Okay. I had hired most of these people in January and February. I knew that we were going remote. I had the intel that said the entire country will go remote. Then we'll go into quarantine. It's going to be rolled out in phases. I'm like, how am I going to bring somebody in? 2 weeks ago, I hired a guy. Now they're going to go home. Little Ben's going to go home and work from his house. I can't train him. I can't educate him. I can't make him part of my culture. Zoom is great, but it ain't that great.
Yeah.
And those people had become liabilities. And they were like, how can you be this cold and callous? I'm like, would you hire them right now? Well, no, we wouldn't. Good. Then let them go. And leaders have to make decisions like that. If you're going to accomplish your mission, if you're going to survive, your household is going to survive. It is a bit selfish, by the way. I admit it. So anybody says Grant Cardone's worried about Grant Cardone, yeah, that's right. Because if I can't make the trip, nobody's going to make the trip. And so I am a bit concerned about my position at that moment of emergency. If a house was burning down, what would you do?
You'd run out. You grab whatever's super important and run out.
Yeah. If you can't put the fire out, but you're not going to blame, you're not going to go in grief, you're not going to bargain, you're going to do what you got to do to put the fire out. This is an economic fire. Economic fire, the first thing it does is the income of the company gets depleted. If you know this is going to go down and you keep your expenses where they are, guess what? The company is going to go down. You're taking on water. Okay. And when the boat starts taking on water, you have to start getting rid of something in that boat if you can't get rid of water fast enough.
No, I saw that video you put out, and I appreciate you putting it out. I've cut people as well. And you went on and said, look, a business owner, and people forget about the business owner, you say this person takes risk for equipment, for release payments. They take all the risks on the daily basis. And then when this happens, they got to make the hard decisions. But the natural reaction is, oh, how could you do that? Because you see people coming out saying, I'm keeping all my staff on and paying 100%. And it's just like, okay, maybe you haven't thought about what's really happening here.
This is what that guy's going to do. He's like, I'm keeping all my staff, but then he cuts his vendors. When you cut a vendor, you are firing someone. When you cut your spending, your advertising, your marketing, okay? When you don't pay your lease, you are firing someone. Like everybody's like, oh, I didn't let go of any of my people. You pay your people $3,000 a month, but you cut your lease at $10,000 a month. You fired a whole bunch of people when you're not able to make your expenses. So payroll is a very small portion in most people's business of their entire expense structure. There's a whole lot of other things you cut. Like I'm looking at property assessments right now across the board. Like, what do I have to do to renegotiate my property assessments now that we've had this hit? The point is, you have to take action. And the faster an individual can get to acceptance of the full ramifications of a situation, oh, my house is burning down. Okay, now's the time to put the fire out. And that means whatever it means. It means running out of the house, or it means grabbing some buckets of water, but it doesn't mean blame. It doesn't mean denial. It doesn't mean bargaining. And it doesn't mean let's find out who started the fire. It means put the fire out.
Okay. And I'm totally with you. You got to cut costs right now because we don't know what's going to happen. And the uncertainty is going to kill you if you have those expenses up. This could be the worst recession in 100 years. Probably will be. Or it could be bounce back in a V. I don't see that happening, but it could be. And as a business owner, you got to be prepared. So, and I appreciate you encouraging people to do that and being public about it. So, all right, so that's kind of step one. What else is going through your mind? Because you're a human as well. You know, I caught myself a couple times, I'll be honest, Grant, where I get into just a bit of a dark space sometimes, and I got to snap myself out of it because sometimes all this stuff hits you, you know, and you're like, and then it's like, no, wait, I got to be a leader to my family and to my team and to everybody else. Do you find yourself in some situations where your head is like, you know, still processing things?
Bro, I got bad news coming at me every, like so many streams of bad news coming at me. I got haters coming at me. I got opinions. I got evaluators. I got like things I'm being asked to look at and do, and what's going to happen. Are you doing this from so many different directions? It's unbelievable. So what I do to move through this is I have this little trick where I go to zero. And what I do is I assess a worst case scenario. I'm going to lose my money, everything. I'm going to lose my cash accounts. I'm literally going to walk through. I'm going to lose every one of my businesses. I'm going to lose my contact, my reputations. I'm going to lose my look, my brand, everything. Now, what do? I rebuild. What am I going to do in this new environment? And again, this is another reason why I had to let people go, so I could put my attention on the people I could keep, so I could actually be a leader to the remaining assets of the company. Knowing I could go back and grab those people when I need to, if I am able to. But if the boat sinks, I can't go back and pick up bodies. So what I do, Brian, is I go to zero, okay? I assume, okay, all your cash accounts are depleted. You go through everything. You're going to have to file for bankruptcy. Now what? And I rebuild from a worst case scenario. And when I do that, my cash accounts won't go to zero. I won't have to file bankruptcy. I'm in communication with all my lenders. I'm in communication with my customers, and I'm proactive, not reactive. So we started reaching out to customers that we knew were going to be in trouble. I'm like, do not wait for the customer to ask for relief. Let's go to the customer and offer them relief now. Okay, we know they're in trouble. Let's offer relief before they ask for it, because they're going to ask for it. So
Who's
let's
the customer?
Huh?
Who's the customer? Tenants in this point, or like business customers?
It was some tenants. We went to 8,000 families and said, look, this is what we want to do as the owner of the property. We know you're going through lots of issues right now. You could be laid off. They're thinking about laying you off. This is going to continue on. Like, this is not going to stop as the moment you guys see this video. This is going to continue. Like, this is the first weeks of this event. So we went to these tenants and just said, look, we know you're scared. Let's prepay 12 months of rent. We'll give you 3 months free. Put it on a credit card and reduce your monthly outlay. And reducing your rent basically from $1,500 a month to like $750 a month. It's a smart thing for the tenant. Maybe they can do that, maybe they can't, okay? But what we did was we started the dialogue and the communication to work with them. Car dealer, he's buying our services. He's got a 3-year contract. Let me give you 2 months of relief on your contract. Add it to the back end. Okay, he appreciates it. He's not going out of business. Or what I could do, you owe me 32 months. Pay me for 1 year, 12 months now. I'll give you the 3 years. and benefit you 2 years, okay? Because again, he's not out of business, but he is scared. And he knows, the smart guys, the intelligent people know that there's trouble. And I don't want to wait to be communicating when he asks for help. I want to offer help and a solution that might benefit us both.
Okay, that's super smart. Talk to me about real estate as an asset class. What do you think of it now? Is it the asset you would like to be in right now if you could have chosen, or if you could choose now? And how does this play out? And is it also very, because you're into multifamily, is it subject to that? And do different real estates have different characteristics going forward?
Look, I'm in the best asset class you can be on this planet. Like, I am in the most protected asset class: food, water, housing. Now, there's particular kinds of housing that matter right now. Single family homes, like you guys have in the UK, where people want to own their own home, that is a terrible asset class to be in right now. I said it on both of the other interviews I did with you. Awful investment. It will prove to be terrible now. It is a liability. It is not an asset, for one reason: because you pay it, it doesn't pay you, and you're locked in for 30 years typically, as opposed to being locked in a lease for 10 or 14 months and you can just move in and move out. Retail, terrible place to be right now. Office buildings, probably awful. Look at what happened to WeWorks. I think it happened there as well as here. WeWorks was a big play on office for solopreneurs. It was a disaster. Retail will prove to be a disaster. Shopping centers, retail centers, they're just not necessary. People have to live someplace. And even if you have food and water, I got to keep my food and water someplace. If I got a case of water and some food, where do I keep it? I need a refrigerator, which means I need an affordable place to live. $1,500 a month rents. People have to live someplace. So I think I'm safe. Now, that being said, there will be damage in the space, because guys that do what I do, some of them violated some of the smarter economic policies, which is leverage. They use too much leverage, and possibly they don't manage their properties correctly. So in a crisis like this, when the tide goes out, you find out who's a good operator and who's over leveraged. That's what Warren Buffett says. You find out what people are wearing at this moment, and you find out what they got underneath whatever they're wearing,
Yeah.
because the good operators. I was just on a phone call with guys that own $200 billion worth of real estate, and I was sharing with them some things that I'm doing right now. We're 91%, 92% occupancy across the board for this month of collections. Everybody was predicting that I was going to lose my property in the first 30 days. That ain't going to happen. I'm at 8,000 units now, Brian. I hope to go to 28,000 units through this cycle.
Cycle being a year, 2 years?
Probably 2 to 3 years.
Okay. I mean, because you were always
the V thing in the stock market. Like, I don't even look at that. That is complete. I'd rather talk about 5G.
Right. Gotcha. That doesn't mean anything to you. Well, you were always in acquisition mode. So, I mean, in a weird way, is this good for being in acquisition mode?
Well, you can't acquire anything right now. So I can't go buy anything today. People are like, hey, I'm going to go buy some real estate right now. You sound like an idiot when you say that, because you can't buy real estate right now. There's nothing, there's nothing to do yet, because you can't get debt on a deal. The debt markets have frozen up, meaning you can't go get a loan today like you were able to 30 days ago. And if you can't get a loan, then the kind of real estate you're buying is junk.
That's because the banks are unsure right now, or there's nobody in the banks right now. A bunch of reasons.
Yeah. The treasuries, which is, mortgages are based on 10-year treasuries typically.
Yeah.
10-year treasuries are at the lowest of your lifetime, yet you're never going to see anybody quote any of that money right now because there's so much uncertainty in the marketplace. So there's no transactions that can happen today. The stuff that I bought 60 days ago and closed on 60 days ago, I can't buy it today. I can't buy them at that price. I can't buy them with that debt, and I can't buy them with their cash flowing. So I have to wait some period of time for this other stuff, these other opportunities to pop up. But when they pop up, trust me, the guys that were on this phone call today, they'll be getting the phone call first. It won't be people new to the marketplace. So you're not going to show up to the party and suddenly like, hey, I'm here to pick up a whale. I'm here to grab Moby Dick. And that's going to be your first score. That's not how this game works.
Okay. If, say, the stock market's off 20%, I know you don't look at the stock market for good reason, okay? It's a lot of hocus pocus. It's a different asset class. But say it's down 20%. If real estate was ultra liquid right now, compared to January 1st mark-to-market values, where do you think it is?
It's a bizarre question to ask because you can't really evaluate real estate like that, So what is my portfolio worth today? It's not for sale. So when you say I got a $1.5 billion worth of real estate, I've always told everybody, look, who knows what it's worth today? It's not for sale. So it's worth more to me. It's probably worth $3 billion to me because that's what it would take for you to buy it. Because that's the only time I'd have that conversation. I'm not a seller. We're playing Monopoly here. I got Park Place and what's the other one? Broadway or something? Boardwalk?
Yeah, Boardwalk, yeah.
I'm not selling it.
Right.
I'm not selling it. You're going to have to pay me rent every time you roll around that board. I'm there for the rent. I'm not there for the sale. I'll just tell you, in 2008, I made 2 mistakes in 2008.
Yeah, tell me what was happening in 2008 before the crash, as in how you were positioned then versus now, and then the mistakes you made, and maybe bring some people up to speed that might not have heard the stories or read the book. Like, I think that's a real teaching moment here.
I had 200 units in 2008. Okay, is that right? 235, and whatever, 16 or something. I don't know, whatever. 250 units. Man, I got 800 vacancies today. So I have 4 times more vacancy today than I had units in 2008. The biggest mistake I made in 2008 was that I sold those properties. As soon as I could sell them, I sold them. And I shouldn't have. They're worth 3 times what I paid for them, even in this correction, even right now, this second. So I could fire sale them for 3x today, and they would have cash flowed for the last 12 years and paid me. Apartments is what got me through 2008, 9, and 10. And as soon as I could actually sell them, I did to get the money out of them. But I was scared. I was beat up. I was terrified. And that's the problem with contractions. They come with a lot of emotions. And so when people say, man, I'm going to buy in the next contraction, you said that before all the emotions. You said it before the coronavirus. You said it before the unemployment. You say it before the layoffs. You say it before you get your customers aren't paying you anymore. You say it before all the bad news. Now, once it's happening, now you got to make decisions with a lot of emotion and a lot of fear. So all I can do is look back. And I know the mistake I made last time was, number 1, I sold. And number 2, I wasn't big enough. I told Elena, I said, the next time this happens, I will not owe $50 million to the banks. I'm going to owe them $5 billion. I didn't quite get to $5 billion, but you understand the point. I think I told her, I said, I'm going to get to $500 million because that would have been 10x. I owe the banks about $1 billion today. They call me every 2 weeks now. How we doing?
And that's good.
How we doing, partner?
Partner, because you're too big to fail in a way.
I'm not a customer now. Like we joined at the hit.
You're a partner. You're a partner, right?
They walk and they hear me squeak.
Right, because if you go down, they go down big.
Yeah, and look, I know guys that are hoping I go down right now.
Yeah, what's with the hate, Grant? Talk to me. Why do people hate?
It is
That's not cool.
It is insane. It's not
really
personal, right? Like Bill Ackman. You saw Bill's interview, right?
Yes.
So Bill Ackman shorted the market, bet $28 million, made $2 billion in 2 days. By the way, it an entire career to figure out how to do that.
Yeah.
But people are like, he made $2 billion off shorting the market. Everybody started hating him. My 10-year-old walks in and says, why is everybody hating this guy? He just made $2 billion. So people hate on people's success. And they want to see people fail. I think it justifies whatever they're not doing in their life. So
right.
I see people hoping I'm over leveraged right now. Let me tell you the bad news with that. If I go down, everybody's going down. Like, this is not like if Grant loses everything, you don't get affected. If the situation I have set up here, because I'm not over leveraged, I'm in a great asset class, I'm extremely conservative in how I invest. I'm very not conservative when I market, but I'm extremely conservative in my investments. If my assets go down, your mom and dad, your uncle, your aunt, your grandparents, your hospital, the store in your local area, the whole world is going to go to shit. Which it very well could, by the way.
Right. Now, that's an interesting observation. And I guess people hate on you because if something goes bad with you, then it justifies their inaction, you know, or maybe just people hate for lots of reasons. So I got to tell you one thing real quick. Every morning,
maybe they just hate how pretty I am. I don't
that could be it too. So some days I hate how pretty you are too, but one of my affirmations I say, I have a whole list of affirmations I say them out loud as I walk to work in the morning. One of them I say every single day, and I have all my students say it as well in my classes, is this: criticism is a sign of success. I want more. And I got that from you, and I always credit that to you. And it's so true. And I'm getting tons of it lately, but I'm also getting tons of you and tons of love. And I realized you can't get one without the other, because you're only getting love because you're putting yourself out on the line. You're saying something or doing something strong, big, risky, and you can't get the love without the hate, right?
And people want the love without the hate. They want the admiration without the criticism. It doesn't work like that. Criticism is a frequency. It's just an aberrated frequency of admiration. It's a guy saying, I love you. I just can't tell you I love you, man. So I got to tell you I hate you. I want what you have. I can't tell people I can't do what you do to have what you have, but so I got to talk about you. I mean, a guy told me the other day, he's like, dude, you getting so much hate on YouTube. I'm like, yeah, I heard. Send me the link. I might share it myself. Because I know it. He's like, I cannot believe the way you handled this. I'm like, bro, it controls the narrative. It controls the narrative, meaning he's talking about me and it costs me nothing, and no one will remember what he said. They will only remember my name. And look at the news cycles. Nobody remembers, like, you can't even remember 3 weeks ago. Tell me your biggest problem 3 weeks ago before this event happened. The biggest problem you had.
Yeah.
You can't find it.
Yeah. You can't find it. It's funny, Trump, I was doing his press conference every day, and I've been watching him. I just find him really soothing. What can I say? But at one of them, he brought up the impeachment, and I was like, what's he talking about? And I forgot he got impeached.
Exactly. There you go. You forgot he said he could grab whatever he wanted and take it. You forgot that Tylenol was taken off every shelf in the world. And it's now the #1 best-selling headache medicine. People forget everything, man.
All right. And so when it comes to criticism, like you said, it's just a slightly aberrated frequency of love. And if you see it that way, then you can use it as fuel. And you see the criticism as fuel.
Yeah, I think that there's, like, one is knowing that, like, that really helps me to know it's just an aberrated frequency. Converting it to fuel is a different thing. That takes a little bit of work.
Okay. Does that take a chip on your shoulder?
I don't know what it takes, actually. I just know I have it. I have the ability to convert. I was telling my wife this the other day. I said, okay, my 72-hour period's over. She's like, okay, you're converting, huh? We got this private little secret. Like, I go into Neuron Man, and I become this superhero with enough hate. The first 72 hours is brutal on me. I get angry. I get pissed off. I get, like, I get introverted. It hurts me. Nobody ever sees this. I start thinking I shouldn't have done that. I second guess myself. So it's somewhere between, I don't know, 30 hours and 72 hours. And then all of a sudden I go into this, like this pivot, and it's not analytical. Something else happens. I don't exactly know what it is or where it comes from or how I got it, but maybe it's just, I've received enough of it long enough. It might be the chip on the shoulder. I don't know.
Yeah, sounds like something different. And then you come back, the Superman, and you're like, now I'm going to go do it.
There is nothing, not success, not money, not the yacht, not the plane, nothing turns me up another notch more than these kids, these people doing whatever they're doing. I'm like, guys, you have no idea what you're contributing to here.
And do you want to show them, or you just become the guy that's just going to go do it?
Some of it is that, Elena knows this about me, right? I was doing this project that you'll know more about in July, but, it's the worst thing I've ever done in my life. Hardest thing I've ever done in my life. And my wife, right in the middle of it, I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. And she's dropped 3 names on me. And I said, okay, I got it. Click, hung up. I'm back in it.
Those are 3 people that want to see you fail. Is that it?
3 people that the worst thing that can happen in their life is to see me win at another level.
Yeah, whatever works, right? If that's what it takes.
I mean, it's very immature. Yeah. It's very immature. Some of this is very immature, low grade inspiration. It's not, look, I know who I am. And there's certain things that I'm a pretty immature person, by the way. So nobody needs to say that about me. I don't know why more people don't say that about me. It's so obvious, but, and on the other end of the spectrum, I am a fairly aware person, but to know that I'm immature requires some level of awareness.
Yeah. Now you have those both sides of you. I've seen them both. The plane, it stays or goes, the jet?
Oh no, dude. Please. That don't go till the end. No, that plane's like that. That's not even an issue. That plane, I need that plane.
You definitely need that plane, man. I want you to keep that plane. I want you to keep it all.
No, I'm just saying, like that plane's an asset. That's not a liability. One of the things that I do in these periods is I take a list of all my assets and I start putting them into liabilities. I start moving assets into liabilities. I did this with every product that we had in our store. Okay, which of our assets are liabilities now? Anything that was sitting in my store, we just put in a quarantine sale. Okay, like every physical asset I had, we took assets that I sell for $200 down to 25 cents. And my CEO was like, why are we losing money on this? We're not losing money. We're gaining 25 cents. She's like, but we got $199 in that product. Yeah, that was a long time ago. You paid for that when? Last year? Good. Get 25 cents for it. Get $25. Get $19. So, and engage with the customer, okay? Assets become liabilities, always. So how do I convert an asset, your assets, that might become your liabilities to be my assets? Right? So I took a list of everything I own, my cash accounts, IRAs, 401ks, life insurance policies, anything and everything that would appear to be an asset. Cars paid for, cars not paid for. What's an asset? What's a liability? Does that still belong in that category? 3 weeks ago it was an asset. Today it's not. It's a liability today. The plane is an asset.
Okay.
That's
really well said.
That plane can get me to Kings. It can get me to Jamie Dimon. It can get me to the players.
Right. Quickly. And how do you lead in a time like this? Your family and your team?
By doing. I never talk about leadership, man.
I know, but you do it.
I'm a doer.
Okay. Get
I'm a
things
doer.
done.
I do stuff. So I do stuff, and when I do it wrong, I calibrate and adjust myself and say, okay, that didn't work, and then I share it with my team. And whatever I'm asking my team to do, I do. Hey, you saw what I did? Y'all need to do that. And we need to do more of that. It's not about me doing it. I did it already. Now y'all need to do it too. So I'm just a doer. Everything I told you, everything I'm doing, you know, I got guys calling me, hey man, should I sell my car? What did I do? You know, should I invest in myself right now? I'm in my church right now. I've been in my church for the last 2 weeks working on me. First, I made a bunch of decisions. Then I moved myself to my church. Hey, let me go look at what I'm not looking at. I need to be in the best shape of my life right now. Spiritually, not financially, spiritually, so that I can be courageous, so I can take advantage of opportunity.
So what does that look like? You just kind of make sure you connect with what you're all about, connect with the deeper meaning, and just make sure that you're really in that space before you go out and make decisions so they're not made for short-term gain or the wrong reasons. Is that what you mean?
Well, my church has a technology where I get to actually work through different things and come to my own conclusion about the best thing, the greatest good for me and others. So, hang on one second, all right? My little girl right here.
Hi. She's always making cameos. She's always making cameos on your videos.
Fantastic. So we're both on course. I'm doing a course on confidence right now.
Nice. Grant Cardone on confidence. Nobody would believe that.
Yeah, but my daughter says, Papa, you don't need confidence. I say, baby, everybody can improve confidence. I did a course on motivation. Okay, I did a course on losses. You know, when you're rolling the way I've been rolling on a roll, dude, for 10 years. Like and then all of a sudden this thing happens. It's like one day I'm with Kevin Hart, Dana White, Floyd Mayweather, John Travolta, like the best of the best, man. And the next day, bang. You know, I got banks talking to me about, hey, we need to see your books every 2 weeks. I'm having to let go of employees. I got 500 staff. I go down to 400. I got people talking about rental properties, you know, people not paying their rent for the next 90 days. I got bad news coming. Stock market dropping 9,000 points. The world's going to roll over. People getting sick. People not blah, 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 right? I'm like, hey, I had all this momentum going. Why is this happening to me? So I did a whole thing called a loss assist, where I get through my losses faster, because this is a loss for everybody. A loss of freedom. I can't go outside. I can't walk down the street. That's a loss of freedom, man. Your thing with YouTube, like, what you mean? I can't say what I want to say. I can't have an opinion. So anyway, I just came here, and then I asked somebody, hey, I'm having trouble with these things. I have questions about these things. I'm concerned about these things. Good, let's work through it.
That's super smart, Grant. Super smart. All right, so what those millions of people that follow you on all your channels, Instagram and YouTube and stuff, you know, a lot of them are you know, probably in their 20s. You know, they want to build businesses. What do you tell them to do in times like this? And then how do you know, now expansion, how do you know when to expand? Because you got to make some contraction moves too, like cutting staff. So what do you tell them to do? And do you ultimately tell them to invest in themselves like you're doing?
Yeah, so, you know, the first thing I would do is take yourself to zero. Okay, look at you and the spouse, sit down and say, okay, let's go to zero right now. What did people do? People went and bought toilet paper. It's a wrong move, dude. What are you doing spending money on toilet paper? Okay, if you're going to go broke, wiping your ass is not the issue. You guys forgot what being broke's like, because when you're broke, you will not go buy toilet paper first. You'll do a lot of things to figure out how to clean your butt. Buying toilet paper would not be one of them. You go to a filling station and use a commercial place, whatever. Like it just shows you how reactive people are. People running out buying tissue paper and Kleenexes and Clorox and insanity. I didn't do all that stuff. So first thing I do is take myself to zero. I look at all my inventory, all my assets, all my liabilities, and say, hey, I lose everything. Now what do? I need to start going out collecting money. So I do a real quick retreat to an imaginary zero or below, and then I go on advance again. Okay, how do I go collect $100, $500, $1,000? And I quit bleeding. I go back to this environment, eat what you kill, that I talk about all the time. Comfortable. You're comfortable, you work comfortable. The only reason people think they have stuff is they're trying to make sense of their comfort. They're trying to bargain with the past, and it's over.
It's the new reality now, right?
Yeah, that's why, look, if I'm wrong, then I want to be wrong where it helps me. Meaning, hey guys, this is going to be the worst year I've ever had financially in my career. Good. If I'm wrong in December 31st, it's going to be like, guys, I was wrong. We made a bunch of money. It's not going to be because I'm wrong because I hallucinated about how good it was going to be and everything was going to be fine and Trump was going to save the world and the economy is going to come back and Corona's not real. I'm not doing that. I'm a grown-up. So I'm not shocked by this. I'm shocked by the size of it. And the good news is it's so big. It probably is so big that we just hit the reset button.
Yeah. I saw you post something like that. What does that mean? What does that mean?
You know,
goes to zero.
The most important number in all mathematics is the most powerful number is zero. I mean, it's an infinite number. Like it just keeps going around and around. This event is so big. I learned this in accounting. I think it was a stats class about constants. You can kick out a constant in a formula, in a calculation, because if it's true for you and it's true for me and it's true for this guy over here, okay, I can just take that out. It's the same C for everybody, right? And it has the same value, the same equalization. You were worth $1 million yesterday. I was worth $1 million. John was worth $1 million. And the government comes in and says, you're all now worth nothing or you're all worth $1 billion. It's all equal. This event is so enormous that I think it's just like, all right, we just start from a new place. And the new place is just a new number, just a bunch of zeros added.
And if you still have your spirit and your energy and your hustle and your plans, then over time, you know you'll be successful in any new reality. Is that right?
That is the beautiful thing about taking yourself to zero, because you can't. Because when you take yourself to zero, stuff, you meet you. I get to meet my courage and my motivation and my clarity about my own personal confidence and belief in myself. And then I'm like, hey, just go to your church, dude. Work on the things that matter, because you can never be broke if you work on the things that matter. And so that's the first thing I did. First thing I did was had a meeting with my staff, looked at all our assets, reduced our prices, got rid of people, got over here, start working on myself. Hey, what really matters? My courage, my creativity, my persistence. People say, man, family matters more than anything. Sorry, my persistence, my creativity, my courage, so that I can take care of my family. It all matters.
Yeah.
Okay? But the condition I'm in makes me a good father. My daughter's on this course with me, doing a confidence course.
That's awesome.
So because, man, nobody can actually be broke. Nobody can be out of work. The people that I let go, their job is to get a job. Okay? My job every day is to get a job. So you can't be broke. You can't be out of work. If you're out of work, your job is to get a job. If you're out of money, your job is to get money. If you're out of confidence, your job is to go get some confidence. So you're not broke and you're not without a job.
All right. So now you're recharging your energy. 3 months from now, will you kind of start being like, all right, I'm assessing the world and I'm going to say, I'm going to be in an expansion mode when other people are in a fearful contraction mode? Is that the mentality? Or are you just going to see what it feels like?
Hopefully, I'm I'm starting to get traction before then to move forward. Like I already have, as soon as as soon as the quarantine gets lifted here, I'm going to go do 50 cities in the United States. Now to do that, you got to have resources to do that. So I'm going to put my resources back to work. Cash is trash. So I don't think people understand the cash is trash concept. They think cash is a good thing. Cash is useless.
Is some cash good now because you can live off it for a bit, or not really?
I mean, I need cash for food, right?
Yeah.
There's other ways to get food.
Okay.
You know,
so it's got to be being spent, being invested. It's got to be flowing for something.
If you offer enough service to other people, they'll feed you.
Right.
I don't need money to get food. I don't need money to get a place to live. You know, I could trade energy for a place to live. Somebody put me up. There's no shortage of housing on the planet. If I called you up, you'd give me a place to live for a while.
Yeah, you're right. So don't sit on the cash. Take your resources and put them to work is what you're saying. Go on the 50-state tour. Do what you do.
You go do whatever you're doing. Go do it.
Right.
Why
do you travel so much?
You're down to your last $5,000, man. Use it. Like, what are you holding on to? It's no money. You're broke either way. You're broke. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Oh, I'm gonna hold on to this $5. Like, what is that? That's not a parachute.
Man, we all have some strange relationships with money out there.
Crazy. You got guys with money in retirement accounts. They won't use it right now. I'm like, what are you crazy, dude? Coronavirus just push your retirement up 15 years. You're not going to use that money? You leave it with Fidelity. You leave it with the freaking banks. Okay, you got a house paid for. You're not going to dump your house right now? Oh, my house, we live here. Yeah, so what? Right now you need money so you can go out and expand and get a new, better place in the future.
You're telling people to dump their stocks, dump their 401k plans, sell their houses right now.
I can see you splicing this thing right here.
Come on, man. You know we don't splice anything.
Yeah, so dude, I would definitely get your 401k money, your retirement money, your IRA money, whatever y'all call it over there, right? You got a house, you probably can't sell your house today. I mean, that probably ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
You're probably stuck. I told you a year ago, and I told you a year before that, sell the house. If you can sell it now. I told everybody this. How many times I say, there's going to be a moment in the future where you will not be able to sell your house. So now, does that mean I sell my apartments? Absolutely not, because my apartments will always provide value for investors in the future because they create income that houses don't create. And I'll always be able to sell to professional investors and banks and insurance companies that always have money, unlike 75% of the population who almost never have any money. So I would sell everything that is valuable that you don't need 3 weeks from now. I'd get rid of it. You got a car, you can ride share. You didn't have that option in 2008. You have it now.
Everybody's cringing out there when they're hearing this, Grant, because everyone's used to those little pleasures and the car and the this, and that's why when you say go to zero, they'll never go there because nobody wants to give it all up, right?
No, people would rather have it taken from them.
Right.
Than give it up. Like nobody's ever going to persecute me. Nobody's ever going to shoot me in the head. I'm going to shoot myself in the head first. Like I'm never going to give somebody else that pleasure. And I would never commit suicide. But you get the analogy, yeah. Right? Like yeah. You're not going to get the pleasure of criticizing me. Every criticism I have ever heard of Grant Cardone, I've had a Grant Cardone and stated it publicly before someone else did. So, yeah, I'd sell. I had a watch. I had a guy give me. He presented me with a watch at the growth conference. Kevin Hart saying in the conference, "Yeah, I always get a watch." He knew I just got a Richard. This guy strapped a Richard on me, and he's like, "Yeah, I get a watch every time I do a movie. I got a watch to go with it." I'm like, "Shit, I'm going to definitely buy my watch now." I told him later, "Kevin, thank you so much, man, because I was thinking I wasn't going to buy the watch. Now I'm thinking I'm going to buy the watch because I just did this thing, blah, blah, blah. This is my anniversary watch, right? I didn't pay for the watch at the conference. And then the Corona thing hit. And I called the guy up and said, I'm sending the watch back. Now the whole world saw me say I was going to buy the watch. I got images of me with the watch. And I'm like, dude, I ain't buying the watch right now. This is the wrong time for me to go buy a dumb watch. It was dumb anyway. Now it's just like, stop it. Stop the craziness. Had I bought that watch, I bought 2 years ago. Now, you know this because you saw it, but 2 years ago, I bought a Cullinan, a Rolls-Royce Cullinan, and brought it on the stage at the 10X Growth Conference.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, 2 weeks after the conference, I sold that truck. I had that truck for less than 8 weeks. I sold that truck. I lost 30 grand on it. I said, dude, I don't need this. I wrote it off on my taxes as a prop for my conference. I lost 30 grand and got a $400,000 write-off. Take your losses. Get whatever you can get now out of whatever you had. Okay? If you're going to lose, hey, surrender and move on as quick as you can. Don't surrender and quit, though. Surrender, retract, contract for a second, retreat for a second so you can advance. That's the only reason to cut back on anything or to sell anything or to get rid of stuff. So you can make a move. Right,
right. It's like pulling that energy back and then using it to propel yourself forward. Okay. Cardone Ventures, I know you had a partner over there and you guys were, talking about that and buying the businesses and stuff. Is that something you still want to look at? Is that tricky in this environment when it's really hard to evaluate businesses? Tell me.
We'll go into super expansion now with that business.
Oh, wow. Okay.
People need money. They need resources. They need help. They need guidance. People aren't giving up on their businesses. Like, we got 32 million small businesses in America. 25 million will make it through this. Maybe 22 million. That's still a lot of businesses. And Donald Trump is going to take, they're going to drop, not just Donald, but money is going to be released into the public and to the businesses like never before in our history. So this guy, we've already done 6 trillion. They're saying 2 trillion. It's actually $6 trillion has been dropped. They're probably going to go to 12 or 15 trillion. They're going to do whatever it takes. These companies need to know how to use money, how to get money. How do I actually invest the money? How do I advertise it? How do I get a return on my investment? How do I cash flow it? How do I use it to go expand? It's going to be an unbelievable time if you can get through to the other side of it.
Right. So this makes it more interesting and more of an opportunity because of this big cash influx.
I think so.
Do you think all businesses should take the money? I mean, I don't know the terms and they have to pay it back. Is it not always the smartest move to take that from the government, or is it usually a pretty good move?
I think if you know how to use, if you are disciplined with cash flow, you should take the money. But that's a big if, because most people don't understand the first thing about cash flow.
But you look at it.
The first thing about cash flow, because 3 weeks ago when this happened, if you're a business owner and you didn't lay somebody off in the first 2 days, you don't understand cash flow.
Right. But you're a real estate guy, which means when you look at businesses, you look at it through a cash flow lens. And that's a strong attribute to have, especially in this market.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't do Netflix, right? Because I wouldn't do Uber. It doesn't cash flow. These aren't cash flow businesses to me. And I don't prop things up on paper. I don't do the paper asset prop up. I'm not a casino. I'm a real business that produces cash flow that we can evaluate from a cash flow basis.
Okay. So ventures going forward, people should still contact you if they want to get involved with that.
Yeah, we would definitely love to look at businesses that are, businesses doing $2 million a year and believes that they have some spot where they can go from 2 million to 20 million, but they don't know how to get to 20 million, but they think that 10X is there. We would definitely look at that business today, right now.
Right. No, that's exciting. We love what you guys are doing there. It sounds really interesting. How bad is this going to get, Grant, in 6 months from now? What are we looking like? Unemployment numbers, GDP numbers, and then 12 months.
Yeah, I think that we could have at least a 10% drop in GDP negative, the biggest we've had maybe in my lifetime. Could go to 20%. I think we end up with 10 to 12 million people unemployed, possibly 20 million. Some people are saying it could go to 45 million people. I don't think it goes that high.
What does the country feel like when you got that many people out of work? I mean, that's in the air then, doesn't it?
Oh yeah. I just don't think it happens because of the money they're going to drop.
Okay.
Because I want to hire people. Like I want to go grab people. The complication now is this thing that's going on with oil is a big issue. Because oil is a big industry here. They're going to have to free that up. Whatever is going on in Saudi Arabia and Russia and the Chinese, whatever they're doing to keep this oil price down, they're trying to bleed somebody out, and that's a huge industry here. So you need those jobs back. But again, as long as Donald Trump is willing to release the kind of money they're talking about and more, you got to remember, this guy's a real estate guy. Income property guy, by the way. So everybody, I'm like, dude, if our industry dies, everything's done. You're probably going to go to World War III before that happens. And number two, he's a restructure guy. Really, really important. I don't know why anybody in the media is not covering this. He's a real estate guy. And two, he's a restructure guy. I don't know if you know this, but in America, the stimulus bill includes a thing called QIP, which is basically if I reinvest in my buildings today, I don't write them off over 39 years. I write them off this year. Ooh. And get to write the losses off and go back and amend my taxes for the last 5 years. Huh. Which means the CapEx, capital expenditure in America, could explode in a positive way, which would mean a lot of infrastructure spending and creation of new jobs.
Right. That's what he keeps talking about. And he's trying to bring some of those tax codes back to get people to invest.
And he that's already passed. Nobody's talking about it because they're just looking at how much money can I get from unemployment. But Kushner and his family are all big real estate people. They're they're all commercial real estate. There's no way you pass these laws without being influenced by your own self-preservation.
Do you think it's the right call for the federal government to write those big checks to get out of this hole?
I think if you don't do it right now, it's going to be so ugly for so many people that, look, inflation has been inflation since we created the first piece of paper. So the first time they printed any piece of currency anywhere on this planet, when we went from barter to anything, we moved into inflation. So what does it matter? It's all made up bullshit anyway. It's all made up, man. Like, what's that card worth? I don't know. Nothing. Six of clubs. But if you put it with a 4 and a 5 of clubs and a 7 and an 8, all of a sudden that 6 of clubs is pretty powerful because you got a flush. But by itself, it's worth nothing. It's just like $100. What's it really worth anyway? What's a euro worth? What's a pound worth? I don't know.
That's why you like real assets. I
like something real because somebody got to live there.
Right. Final thoughts, Grant. Especially for, I mean, you must get all the kids. You must get the guys in their 20s that are just, I mean, look, I got kids here and I'm trying to talk to them on a daily basis saying, look, I've been through this stuff. I know it seems like the end of the world for you, but it's not. You know, the life will continue. We're going to get through this. You're going to get stronger. But what are you telling all the kids that are asking Uncle G for answers, business and life?
Yeah. If you're 20 years old, I don't think this feels like the end of the world for you. It just feels like some drama moment. You probably got to be an employer for this to feel like the end of the world for you. You know, I think get guys that are 15, 16, 20, 22, 23, unless you got a family and you're 25 and you got a family, you start a family, this doesn't feel like the end of the world to you. It feels like a movie. You know, this is not going to feel like a real tragic situation until you have obligations, people that depend on you, a real dream that you're trying to make come true. You know, if you're a hustler and you, in addition to you being a hustler, you have payroll, and you got people that work for you. You're not just doing this on your own. I think the solopreneur just thinks, oh, this is just tough times. But you got 400 or 500 employees. You got 30 employees. You got your name on the building. This feels different, but I don't think that's most young kids.
Okay. And what about for those people? What do you tell them?
I think, bro, you guys got to make some hard decisions. You got to make some real hard decisions right now, and you got to start deciding what you're going to get rid of. You got to throw something. You got to throw something off that boat. You're not going to change, and you're not going to survive with the same load you had 3 weeks ago. And the first thing everybody wants to do is everybody wants to add something to the boat. You can't. You cannot. You have to take something off. You got to give something up to change. Change does not come by adding. It comes by deleting and erasing and getting rid of. Then you make room for something new. But Brian, you meet enough people, man, they all want to change without getting rid of anything. The drug addict. I just want to use a little bit. That's not how it works, man. You know, the people in a relationship, you're in a bad relationship. You want to get counseling. Okay, maybe that'll help you. Maybe you need to quit cheating on her. You can't do the strip joints and keep the relationship going. Maybe you need to give up your dad that's negative on the relationship. Something, you got to give something up in order to change. And I think that's what people are having to confront right now. You're going to have to give up the car, the office, your name on the building, your title. I gave a guy a choice the other day. I said, dude, I either got to cut you by a third. He's like, oh, I can't afford that. I got to go look for other work. Oh, okay. I'm still overpaying you. So he decided to leave. It was a mistake. He shouldn't have done that. He should have taken the cut. He should have said, hey, I'll work with you for free for the next month, man. You've been good to me. But he couldn't because he's stuck on some old pay plan. Right.
He's stuck on the old reality, the old paradigm, and this is a new one.
Everybody has to give up the past.
Right. Which is the whole point of setting yourself to zero. So you can be grateful for the present and then build on it.
And if you lost your job, go work for somebody for nothing today. Go take a job. Don't leave. If they get rid of you, say, hey, I'm staying for nothing.
That's a good move.
You don't lose a job and your income.
Right. And you're in the flow at least.
You're in the flow, dude. You're in play. In the deal business, we talk about being in play. Put the deal in play. Keep yourself in play, even if they cut your income.
Right. Yeah. But this is so foreign to most people because they've never seen a time where that's valuable in itself. It's always been, I want a raise, I want the this, I want the extra this. Yeah.
What, time off? Different time, man.
Yeah, it's a different time. Last thing. You started getting ripped and shredded lately, Grant Cardone. What's going on, man? What's going on? But I think when you were telling me in here before, you were like, yeah, I never really been into that whole body fitness thing. But then it all flipped the script. Now you're making me look bad. What happened?
Yeah, so look, I've been working out for, a year and a half. My body was hurting.
Okay.
I think the last time I was there, I was actually having body pain. And then I started going to I hired a trainer. And I've been going to the gym every day, and he taught me how to work out. I didn't know how to work out, actually. I worked out my biceps over and over. I didn't know how to work my legs. I never had a leg day, dude. Like 30 years, I never had a leg day. And so now I go into the gym every day and work out. I get cardio in every day. I'm not trying to get ripped or anything, but it's happened. If you do anything you do every day, you'll get ripped. Sooner or later, you'll get good at it. And then I went plant-based about 70 days ago.
Wow.
Yeah, and I did not go plant-based. I'm not some anti-meat guy, by the way. But I tried it I saw Game Changer. And when he said, why are you eating the middleman? I said, fucking good enough for me, dude. That's stupid. I don't want to eat the middleman. I want to go straight to the source.
How do you feel?
Been doing it 70 days, man.
Wow.
So my energy My energy, I used to take a nap every day at 3:30, 4:30 in the afternoon. Every day I'd crash. I don't crash anymore.
Huh. Wow. And the training's giving you new energy as well?
Yeah, I think so. It's a great way for me to start my day. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think it's given me more energy. I think it's got me out of pain. My body doesn't hurt anymore because I got muscle on my bone.
Okay. Wow. Well, I went plant-based for a year. And yeah, it felt good. It felt good.
You did, huh?
I didn't stay on it, but I did it for a whole year, man. And did it when I did my Ironman, I did it. So it was a great experience. I loved it. But yeah.
Yeah. But my digestion has always been a problem in my life. I know this might be too much information. It's always been slow.
Okay.
And man, I tell you, ever since I've been on this, it's like that is having to work less. Who knows, man? I might go all meat next month.
I just had the carnivore diet guy on, Sean Baker. He's a fascinating dude as well. Yeah, the vegans didn't like him too much. But and look, it's good to experiment. You know what he said? He said, look, I don't care if you go carnivore or you go plant-based. Just stop eating all the garbage. He said, that's what he said. Get off the sugars and the processed foods and the flours, and you're going to feel good either way. And he had a great point. I think some people like Dr. Jordan Peterson went all carnivore, and all of his autoimmune stuff stopped because he wasn't eating sugar and flour. So, you know, there's benefits.
And I think everybody's probably different body types need different things, but it's been good for me. I'm not trying to sell it or push it or promote it on anybody. But I would like to promote one thing.
Tell me.
Success. Guys, it's important, man. Like you guys, it's important. Spiritually, it is important to win. You got to be an example. You know, I think about my kids. I'm like, I just need to be an example. You know, when they start growing up and they start getting pulled here and pulled there, Grant, just be an example. Don't try to stop them from doing something. Be an example of what success looks like. Take care of your body. Take care of your relationship. Be the person that your kids would admire. You know, go out and figure out how to get money. Figure out how to do the right things with money. Start making the right decisions over and over and over again. Be right. Be successful. Win in life. It inspires people. And along with that comes that aberrated frequency, which is just admiration in reverse.
I love it so much, Grant. GrowthCon next year, happening.
100%, dude. We already got contracts out for some. Last year was big.
Yeah, I saw your dream. I saw your dream roster. You had Kanye in there, didn't you?
I would love to have Kanye there so much. I love that guy.
Yeah. Well, you can make it happen, man, for sure. For sure. Success is your duty, Grant Cardone, and all of our duty, right?
Yeah. When I see it I see you, what you're doing, man, you inspire me, man.
Me?
You inspire me.
Why is that, Grant?
Because dude, you're making moves, baby. And I'm like, God damn, man, Brian can do it. I can do it.
Well, I really appreciate that, Grant. I really do. And look, man, I'm so glad to connect with you in this time. Look, I won't lie, Grant. I'm a huge fan of you. I love your energy. I love you. This is a spirituality of you that I've seen deep into our interviews here that I haven't seen in many people, and it's big, man. You got an energy that's far past your human shell, and it connects with like ultimate consciousness, I think. And if people watch our interviews around 2 hours, you go in there, and it's super powerful. And you know, a lot of people think Grant is this and think Grant is that, but there's so many nuanced parts of you, so many facets, from the immature ADD guy that can't sit straight to the guy that can wax about the spiritual side of being human, to the guy that can talk about real estate, to the guy that can be on stage, and it's all beautiful stuff. So, man, I really appreciate you, and thank you for being so honest today. I'm so glad you're recharging right now and doing all your things, and man, I can't wait to see you again in person.
Yeah, same here, brother. Love you, man. Thanks a lot.
All right, brother. Take care. Bye-bye. That's it. We're out of here. Big love to Grant Cardone. Go find him, love him, hate him. Just do something to him. And, and go check out all his stuff. All right, we're out of here. We see you next time on London Real. Bye.